Welcome back to the Faith and Formation Podcast. It is Thursday, November 6th. Thanks for jumping on and being a part here this morning. We're looking at 1 Kings chapter 12. It has been a good week so far. Week after the revival. And things are clicking right along. We had a great time at Teen Time last night. Brother Sam, you're with us here this morning. How was your time in Teen Time last night?
It was good. A lot of energy from the teens, which can be a good thing most of the time.
Most of the time it is.
In its rightful place.
Yeah.
But yeah, always good to hear the teens singing out loud and being enthusiastic with the games and everything. And we didn't have Teen Time last week with Revival, which was obviously great. But good to be back into a normal Teen Time setting and seeing the teens once again.
Yeah, I agree. And back in school, I know the kids just love that.
I'm sure they do.
They had Friday off, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But back at it, going
But they
again.
have another day coming up soon, don't they?
They have 2 days.
See, that's crazy.
The teachers are going to teacher conference, and they get a Thursday and a
Look
Friday
at that.
off.
See, the teachers, they just go to get more learned, and
Exactly.
the kids just get to sit back and do nothing.
I know. Tell you what.
Doesn't seem fair. But
I think everyone that's older will always think that things are getting softer,
Yep.
Always. Just how it goes.
Back in my day.
Exactly. Anyways, let's get back on our topic here. 1 Kings chapter 12. Again, thanks for joining us. Oh, and by the way, I've mentioned this a couple times in previous podcasts, but we have a comment section below. So feel free to avail yourself of that. Drop something down there below, maybe a blessing, a prayer request, something that you found that was helpful, or anything like that. We have the comment section, so go ahead, avail yourself of that and use it.
I hear Brother Andrew is giving gift cards for every comment that is dropped. Is that true, Brother Andrew?
Where are you getting this information from?
I wish you guys could see the look on his face. He's like, "Oh, you're so not coming on this podcast."
Yeah,
again.
right. Don't listen to him, everybody.
But please comment still.
Yes, but please
Just not
comment.
for money, because you won't get any.
Exactly. And I will try to respond. I haven't been very good about that in the past, but I will try to respond to those. So yeah, use that chat function below, and that will be a help and encouragement. Thanks again for being a part here this morning. 1 Kings chapter 12, our topic verse comes from verse 8. More on that in a moment. Before we get there, let's look at our memory verse here for this morning. It comes from Proverbs 28 and verse 13. First day for that verse, it says there, "He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy." Proverbs 28 and verse 13. All right. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 8, Brother Sam, take it away.
Yep, that's our verse for today that we're focusing on, or I guess that encapsulates most of what we're focusing on today. And that verse says, "But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him." Okay, so little backstory here. We're now not in the time of David being king or his son Solomon being king, but now David's grandson, Solomon's son, Rehoboam, has now assumed the throne. And if we look, basically, he is faced with a decision. And the whole nation is wondering, okay, is he going to be like his father and how he rules us? Or is he going to do things differently? And now for Solomon, we know him as being extremely wise and having wisdom of God. But it is referenced, actually, if you look in verse 4, that Solomon apparently was a very heavy taxer upon the people. As when the people came to Rehoboam, they basically said, well, actually, I'll just read verse 4. "Thy father made our yoke grievous, and now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee." So basically, the people are coming before Rehoboam and asking, "Hey, can you give us a little bit of a breather here?
Yeah, right.
Don't tax us as much and have us not pay as much tribute, and we will gladly serve you as our king." And so he says, "Okay, well, let's go away. Let me think about it for a couple of days." And Rehoboam does a very wise thing. In verse 6, he gets counsel and calls in basically his father's advisors, the older men, and asks their advice.
Yeah.
And says, "Hey, how do you advise that I answer the people? What do I do here?" And the older, wiser men, they told him, basically do what the people said, and they will. They're being honest. They will serve you. Make their burden a little bit lighter, and they'll serve you. And then we see in verse 4, or excuse me, in verse 8, that he forsakes the counsel of the old men and basically calls in his peers, the young men that had grown up with him, alongside him, and basically asks them the same question. What do I answer them? Do I do what the older men have said, or do I do my own thing? And they say, no, not only do you do what your father has done, but basically double down on that.
Yeah, right.
And make it worse. In verse 11, it actually says, they're basically telling him what to say to them. And they says, whereas my father laid you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Wow.
Oh my word. Like, that is very, I mean, yeah, this is not what you would consider in today's time, like a politically correct statement of trying to appease both sides. Here's the middle ground man. That's the man of the people. This is the advice that he got from his friends, his peers. And so basically on the third day, the people come back to him, and he answers them roughly and basically says exactly what his peers had said. Yeah. And that basically turns into splitting the nation. It happened exactly what the people had said, or the opposite, because they were saying, if you do this, we'll serve you, but he did the opposite, and so now the kingdom was split. I think one of the most important things that I saw through here, obviously, he forsook the older men's counsel and listened to the counsel of his friends. And it's not wrong that he got both sets of counsel. What I think was really, really telling in this, if you look basically at the end of verse 7, is where the old men are answering him. Yeah. And immediately after that, verse 8, it says, but he forsook the counsel of the old men, and this is before he even called his friends in. It says he forsook their counsel. In his mind, he's already discounted it. He's already knowing what he's going to do. And so he's turned to his friends for validation to be like, hey, what do you think I should do? But he knows in his heart, I think, what his friends are going to say. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we can do that ourselves. Sometimes there's something that we know. We don't even have to pray about it. We don't have to look in the Bible and see what God has instructed us to do. We know in our heart of hearts what's the right thing to do. And then we're like, oh, well, maybe I'll just ask this person, or I'll go to this person, ask their opinion, almost as like a crutch of, well, this person told me to do it. Yeah. Right. And it's something that even back then, Rehoboam was doing the exact same thing that I see so many times in our world today as Christians, and even in myself, that has happened.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think a really good point. Rehoboam, it's almost like was seeking validation for something that he already decided he was going to do. Mm-hmm. And he took the counsel of both the young and the old. Like you said, I think that's a very good thing. I don't think that was necessarily a problem that he took counsel from other places, but then he made a decision based on one of those, mm-hmm. right? And I think in all of our lives, in the teenagers' lives, counsel is going to be given from a lot of different angles. And you can look for counsel in a lot of angles. But you have to, at the end of the day, decide, okay, what's going to be my deciding factor between the right counsel and the wrong counsel. And here I think Rehoboam made this fatal mistake. He didn't factor God into any of it. Right. Not a single part there are you going to say that he consulted with the Lord. He prayed. He looked in the, to the religious crowd or to the scriptures that he had of the day, like the amount of the Bible that they had at the time. He didn't do any of that. And so I think maybe an important point here is, yes, we can seek counsel from a lot of different areas, and many times that's good to get different perspectives and angles and such. But at the end of the day, we have to base our decision off of what God's word says.
Right. Yeah, and you don't, just like you pointed out, you don't see anywhere where during that 3-day period of talking to these people that he sat down once and prayed and said, God, what do you want me to do? Right.
Exactly.
And that's something that you would see, his grandfather David and Solomon do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that he did not carry over from them, and basically just went his own way.
Yeah, exactly. So the lesson is for us and anyone listening is, yes, seek counsel. But one, make sure it's godly counsel, make sure it's good counsel. And two, when you make your final decision for, whatever decision it is, make sure it's based on truth and that it's coming from the Bible, from God's word. That's the final authority for what you're doing, and not just the words of someone else around. I think that's a lesson for today from really a very famous passage, and I think I've probably heard a lesson based on this passage at least a dozen times in my life. But it's a great reminder to bring back up again and say, hey, who am I listening to? What's influencing my decisions in my life?
Absolutely.
We want to make sure that primarily that is God's word. And so that's really the lesson and the challenge for us here today, this morning. All right, well, that's our devotional this morning from 1 Kings chapter 12. As you go to prayer this morning, let's spend a little extra time praying for your family. Mention those immediate family, extended, whoever it is. Lift them up in prayer and put a little special emphasis on them here this morning. And then for our teenagers, we want to mention Jacob specifically in prayer as well. All right, well, thanks again for joining us here in the Faith and Formation podcast. Thank you, Brother Sam, for being a part this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Yep, always a pleasure to have you. And hopefully this morning was a blessing to you. And you have a good rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you next time.